They put everything to shame and only Siskel and Ebert to blame. Please welcome the Video Store Guys. Welcome into the Video Store Guys. We are doing the Santa Claus 3. I bring up the case, flip it on the back. Santa, aka Scott Calvin, is faced with double duty: how to keep his family happy, how to stop Jack Frost from taking over Christmas. What do you tell me? Is this a yay or nay?
I'm giving it a wholehearted yay, 100%. Now, that being said, if I got to pitch you on this movie, I got to let you know, in my view, not as good as the second movie. Okay, but it has so many redeeming qualities. It's a little bit shorter, but the performances are top notch. The storyline is hilarious. You get a little bit of I Love Lucy kind of slapstick in there, a little bit. It's tongue in cheek. The overall story is, and this is the like we always talked about, the family. The family is always at the root of these stories. Is it okay to give up doing the thing you love, even though you have to make sacrifices? And I think that that's where this movie really shines. What do you think?
I completely agree with you. This movie has everything. Not only does it have everything, it has everybody. Tim Allen, Elizabeth Mitchell, we all know how we feel about her.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Short, Eric Lloyd, Aisha Tyler, Kevin Pollak, Michael Dorn, Peter Boyle, Judge Reinhold, Art LaFleur as the Tooth Fairy, and Lilia Mummy. I gave this
a 10. A 10. A 10. I gave it a 10. A 10. I'm 10. I gave it a 10.
I absolutely agree. I gave it 9 out of 10. The reason I gave it 9 out of 10, because it is, just like you said, 92 minutes long, and it ended too quickly. It should have played out a little bit more like number 2 did, but it had everything. Everything comes together. The grumpy father-in-law that is just pushing the buttons too much, and
Alan Arkin, yeah,
just pushing the buttons too much. Martin Short didn't overplay his character like he does on most of his roles. Elizabeth Mitchell was pregnant and still yet perfect somehow. Aisha Tyler as Aisha Tyler as Mother Nature, once again,
always great. Lana from Archer, always great.
Peter Boyle, the old turd, still around and doing it. The Tooth Fairy, he plays out his role with as one of the anyway. And the quotes, the quotes, hands down, are some of the best. The total scores, IMDb gave it a 4.8, Metascore was a 32, and Rotten Tomatoes, and this is why we do this, gave it a rotten 17%. So
go screw yourself, Rotten Tomatoes. You don't deserve to be in the business.
You don't.
For me, it's a 7.5, close to 8. I mean, I gotta say solid, like 7.8, right? If I'm gonna, I don't want to go get too minute with the point system, but close to an 8. I know the other two I've given in the high 8s, but I think the length is what screws this over for me. Because remember, the second one, we forgot about an entire B plot of the movie, because there is 2 full movies in there that are happening simultaneously. In this one, it seems like it's more like a sketches, vignettes. It's almost like they just kind of wrote the story. They storyboarded this as sketches. There's a funny gag and then they move on, and then there's a funny gag and then they go on. And yes, the family drama is still at the center, but I think that the subtext of this movie is what redeems it. It redeems the negative parts of it. It's about the how the commercialism of Christmas is not the real true meaning of it. I'm going to let you explain a little bit further, because then that'll fill in my my analysis there.
So you have in-laws coming in because Santa Claus can't balance the pregnant wife. He doesn't have enough time to check and double check the Christmas lists. Then you have the in-laws coming in, and just like every overbearing father-in-law, telling the underachieving the son-in-law, you're not cleaning this right, you're not, doing this, you're not, over patronizing everything, in the area. Not to mention, they completely told them that they're living in Canada.
It's way up north in Canada, yeah.
In Canada the whole time. So I love that aspect of it. It had a lot of really great quotes, and I'm gonna throw some out there. When Bud finally finds out that they're in at the North Pole and they're not in Canada anymore, Bud is the father-in-law. He says they're elves. They're not little Canadians. They're really elves. Thought that was funny. When they're arguing father time, and all the holiday people are arguing with Jack Frost. They're arguing. Father time says, Frost, you herald a season. You're not a holiday. The Tooth Fairy. You're the best friend, not a leading man. And the Easter Bunny, of course, is letting Jack Frost know that you kill fruit. So
You kill fruit, Mother Nature, dude. Those little digs are so. And that goes to the world building, right? Like we have conceded the fact that we've suspended our disbelief. Not only is Santa Claus real, but so is Mother Nature. So is Jack Frost, who is basically the embodiment of the season of winter. Father Time, who, like, and if you think for 5 seconds how all these entities could be anthropomorphized and exist simultaneously, your brain will explode. But the fact that they're there is just to give the one-liners. It's just so good. And honestly, Peter Boyle, Michael Dorn does it for me. Lieutenant Worf, forever.
Jack Frost, when he's arguing with Santa, he's telling him, "You get the Coca-Cola cans, you get the TV specials. What do I get? A few runny noses and dead citrus." Once again, what the heck's his name? Martin Short. Martin Short. He played it perfectly. He was the man. You're not when Jack Frost takes all his power from him. He takes the snow globe and he kicks Santa out. He has him. There we go. He says, "You're not even Santa anymore. You're just a big fat man that smells like a cookie."
It smells like a cookie. That's the way he said it, like almost like in Clifford, like that he's got that little affectation. I want to draw attention to this. The way that they make Martin Short look, he keeps his pointy ears, but they give him the more bulbous Santa nose, which they've very similar to the makeup they put on Tim Allen. So it keeps the character of Santa kind of in some sort of canon, where Santa Claus will always look like Santa Claus. Even though somebody else takes the mantle, you will always look like Santa Claus. And I think that justifies the legend of why he kind of looks the same all the time, throughout history. It's a really good story point. And it's really good makeup design as well. I know it sounds almost like I should have a monocle and I'm over analyzing, dumb Disney Christmas movies, but all these movies are made by the same kinds of people who make masterpieces like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's like a lot of the same people, you know what I mean? Like these people are capable of making high art, and you shouldn't forget that this is art, and it should be taken, at least to a certain extent, seriously for the technical achievements and what it takes to make a movie and all. I know it sounds pompous, but that these people work hard on them, and even though this might, in some people's view, be the weakest of the three movies, which in 2022 that's no longer the case. We'll get to it, and we will get to it in another episode. But some people they like this more than the other movies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I know somebody.
Hands up! I absolutely did not. I the whole time I'm watching the series, I'm turning to my wife with my kids in the room, saying, "This is bad. This is horrible bad. This is bad." I'm so disappointed that
not this movie, but the miniseries.
The miniseries. Back to all the great things, because I absolutely love Santa Claus 3.
What did you tell me before we started? What did you tell me about this? And it made me gasp.
Oh, what was it?
That this movie is your favorite
this
one.
Movie is my favorite of the three. This Santa Claus 3 is the favorite. Is my personal favorite of all three of them.
I can't believe it.
Love Santa Claus 3. It has everything. It has the everything. Yes, it has Elizabeth Mitchell. It has the fighting. It has Santa Claus at the North Pole playing football with the elves. I mean, it's like
He's
so
like, you
much
better
fun,
watch out, pork
you
chop.
know?
He goes, who you calling pork chop? Meatloaf?
Oh man,
It shows the side, like you said,
everything.
when we talked about the last movie, it expands upon the universe. It fills in a little bit more of the map, right? It gives you a little bit more banter between, like a off-duty kind of banter between Santa and the elves. So it gives you more of, it just fleshes it out. Like I always say this all the time, like it goes forward, doesn't go backwards. Even though this one does go backwards in time, it doesn't go backwards, or it's almost like very similar to Back to the Future. Okay, so the whole escape clause is that Santa, if he's holding a special snow globe, can say, "Excuse me, I don't want to be Santa anymore," and he'll go back to the moment when he became Santa, and it'll allow somebody else to take up the mantle. Well, Jack Frost takes the opportunity to grab the suit before Scott Calvin can, puts it on, and then bam, they're instantly transported back to the present in the alternate Biff Tannen timeline, if we're going to take the Back to the Future 2 reference. And it's basically Biff Town, right? It's Jack Frost Town. It becomes a commercialized event every year. You have to pay to be on the good list. He puts on a show. He's selling merch. So I think it was a really good idea, as story-wise, to have the character of Jack Frost be the interloper, the one that wants to come in and cash in, because it is very similar. It's the season. He's the season, and I know that they're kind of saying something slightly blasphemous by saying Santa in the subtext. Santa Claus is the reason for the season, but I think if you look a little closer, you'll see that it's actually kind of giving you an undertone of there is a larger reason for the season, right? Jack Frost being the season. It's not about cashing in. It's not about presents. It's not about money, and you see movies like Bad Moms Christmas, which a hilarious movie, but it doesn't answer the question. It just begs the question of, as a mom, it can be so stressful. It's, you got to give your kids this, I got to do that at parties and recitals and decorations and everything. Yes, that is there, but let's take a step back and remember the magic and remember the belief and the wonder and the love that we should have for each other. And I think that they not so subtly drive that point home in this story.
You're exactly right. And ultimately, that is my point. And I think I've even said this on previous shows, right? Even the weekly round, right? That when Christmas is over, or when your kids grow up and you're explaining Santa Claus and the whole concept to your children, you want to use these movies are the perfect analogy to use for your children. That Christmas is an idea. It's an idea about love. No matter what, you have a feeling of community, and you build upon that, and it all starts at home, and it just reaches out throughout the whole entire community throughout this whole time of year. It's nothing but love and togetherness and not being selfish and thinking of yourself. You're always thinking of somebody else. And ultimately, this is what we need more of. And I think that's why we have an issue, and this is more our problem and less about the critique of the movie, but I'm gonna throw it in there. I think it's why we start Christmas a little bit earlier every single year. The big box stores bring out all the Christmas stuff a little bit earlier because people just need it. Especially the last few years, people just need Christmas.
That is a good point.
Year,
I think that's a good way to look at it. Most people would say, "Oh God, it's not even October yet," and it's like, guys, maybe we should be a little bit more in the Christmas spirit right after Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just not after not after Labor Day.
Keep Mariah Carey and Wham in their closet until it's time.
And pumpkin spice, yeah.
And pumpkin spice, get that shit out of here.
All right, man, take us home.
Okay, if you want to bring up my feed here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
If I'm going to take us home, I'm going to take us home the right way. So overall, we've just covered the best of the best, according to Mike, because it doesn't happen in New York. But we have we have going. It's a perfect ending to a trilogy. Okay, we're going back to the beginning with this one, right? It shows where we started, where we've ended, and the journey we've taken in between, and it really does. It's a nice capstone. I think the biggest critique is it's not long enough. The family is still very much rooted as the foundation of this story. Okay, and same as the other two movies before it, they don't forget to keep the family as the foundation, as you should, as you have to. And I have a feeling that in the miniseries they don't do that. So overall, watch this with your kids. These three movies, I mean, it's pure belief, it's pure wonder, it's pure joy. Santa Claus, it might not be real, but you know what? This makes me believe.
Amen. And having a belief in something is better than having a belief in nothing, you know. And this is, like I said, it's the perfect way to explain to your children, you know, when they have been told Santa Claus isn't real. This is the perfect way to explain to your children that what Christmas is all about. It's about the love, it's about the togetherness, and it's everything encapsulated in the things that we love about Christmas. So.
Love it. You want to bring my feedback?
Coming. I can't tell everyone enough how much we appreciate everything you do. Keep liking, subscribing, ringing our bells. Ironically, it's Christmas time, so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.